This right here is the Jennings Univox. It's an early 50s monophonic instrument. I guess it's sort of like a precursor to the synthesizer. It's more like a monophonic valve organ in a way. However, it does share some of the technology closer to a synthesizer rather than an organ, and we'll have a look at that in a little bit. You'll notice it looks rather similar to the Clavio line, which was famously played in the song Telstar. I got this a few months back locally from a place called Island Vintage. Funnily enough, I was walking down the street and the owner of the shop shouted from the other side of the road, "I've got an old bit of electronics you might be into." And 9 times out of 10, if it's electronic and old, then usually I'm pretty interested. So I went and had a look at it. They said it didn't really work, it just made a rumbling sound, but I bought it anyway. It came with the case, which has a built-in power supply and speaker, and yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing. Let's have a closer look. So here is the actual instrument module itself. Basically, the problem with the sound was few of the notes were stuck on. This was because few of the black keys, the tops of them, had came away. I basically reattached these and now the keyboard works again. So this is the circuitry, and you'll notice that it's actually all original, down to those leaky, waxy capacitors that we all dislike so much. I'm going to quickly interject this video and foreshadow a little bit of a discussion that is probably going to happen in the comments. And that thing is recapping old electronics. Yeah, swapping out dodgy, leaky old capacitors with brand new, lovely, shiny yellow ones. So the thing is, for the next at least 6 months to a year, this thing is going to be sat in a cabinet dismantled. As many other things are dismantled, just for, you know, like showing people the electronic technology. The issue that I have is inside here is pretty damn original. There's only one capacitor that I've seen that has been replaced, and that is out of view underneath. This obviously plays into the term you can only have something original once. After that, it's only just restored and it's never original. And some people may be like, this is a shame because, you know, it doesn't get played and stuff. The thing is, if I recap this and, you know, make it reasonably reliable to be on for a while and let people play on it, well, the keybed is reasonably fragile and it's just gonna break. So with this all in mind, I haven't inspected the circuitry of this massively. All I know, it's roughly going oscillator, blah blah blah, Firotron, amplifier section. Over here, you'll notice this rather interesting thing. This is actually the volume control, and it's controlled by a little bit at the bottom that you plug in a lever that you control with your knee. And then this lever underneath goes over to the top, which pushes this cog on top of the volume potentiometer that's down here. How cool is that? Remove the keyboard section. And after that, with little effort, you can actually remove the keybed. This is where you get a nice look at behind the switch section, and then at the same time you get a closer look at the keyboard assembly, which is closer to a monophonic synthesizer keyboard than it is an organ keyboard, because this is basically just one big voltage divider. As you can see, it's got a bunch of high tolerance resistors. I've been quite lucky with this keyboard because it does actually play in tune. Some of them, these resistors have drifted over time, and it means that the keyboard's like... You'll see that it's mainly made of wood, but maybe the most surprising thing about this early 50s keyboard assembly, if you look closely at the key contact, you'll notice there are 3 bare wires that are connected when you push down the key. Between these two, which actually make the key press, you see that, but then you'll notice that this one doesn't actually push until you push the key down further, and then the connection is made, which is a rudimentary aftertouch. How cool is that? So this thing had an aftertouch in the 1950s. I don't know what it looks like in here. I guess it's just the amplifier and the speaker. Right. Yeah, this has literally been wired to the speaker line. Probably not the best thing to use, but whatever. Amplifier, and that's about it. It's pretty cool. This is not how it was envisioned to be played like. This is how it was envisioned to be transported around. You know, it makes quite a compact enclosure when the front's on. This is a bit beaten up, the front. You can see this is where the wires fit, and then it sits in and makes a nice portable package. So there's a stand for it. You put this on top, and I think you put the speaker underneath to sort of act like a counterweight. It looks like the back of the keyboard is missing. That's because this was envisioned as sort of an add-on to an organ or a piano or something. So this would butt up underneath the bottom of the keybed of the organ or the piano, much like some early-ish drum machines. Some were made to fit on top of the organ and look quite nice, and others were actually made to bolt underneath the keybeds, much like this is made to fit under there. So yeah, it's technically wrong, but when has this ever stopped me doing anything? The only downside to playing it like this is you can't actually plug in the volume lever that is initially used to be able to control the volume with your leg like this. do the volume control on the AFTERTOUCH. See? So the harder I push, the louder it gets. Knee-powered volume control, which I'm kind of pushing with my finger over here, it sort of acts like a wave shaper. That's probably because it's getting to the clipping point and just clipping like crazy. Remember when I was going on about the capacitors and stuff? Well, the fact is you should probably be careful when you've got old caps, because sometimes these capacitors get to the point when they get so old that they basically just turn into wires. If you notice things start smoking or resistors start getting really hot, then it probably means that some of your capacitors are completely kerflunked. So this keyboard is the one that was used in White Stripes' Icky Thump.
Hi Sam, I see your Univox is back in shape, so let's jam. I brought my Hohner Electronium, a similarly crazy vacuum tube synth from the 1950s, and I'm gonna play you something. But first, let's head over to the Rode & Schwarz UBM for some proper vacuum tube German bass drums.
So there we go, that's the Jennings Univox. To be honest, the more I played it today, the more I wanted to fix it up. The thing is, the longer this is on with old capacitors in, it's just a ticking time bomb. So the next time I'm going to get it out is going to be when I'm going to get some new capacitors in, which will hopefully in turn fix the vibrato issue. Another failure point on this keyboard is the key bed. As I was playing, another couple of the ivories came unstuck. So it seems that all of them need a bit more glue as the original glue has started to degrade. But in the meantime, I've uploaded a load of audio from this keyboard up on my Patreon. So if you want to use the sound clips for this, that and the other and stuff, then be my guest there over on my Patreon, which needless to say supports this odd venture. A shout out to Heimbach for sending over that jam. That was a sweet touch. The links to Heimbach are in the description below. And yeah, I've been Luke Mum No Computer. This has been the Jennings Univox. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and don't be scared to try it.